1. The Tangara frog, Angistomops pustoasis, is a small amphibian indigenous to parts of Central America and the northern regions of South America, where it is found in a number of different types of ecosystems, including marshes, forests, and grasslands. Tangara frogs are fascinating research subjects for biologists because of the intricate nature of the male's mating calls. Though vocalization is common in frogs, the high degree of intraspecific variance in Tangara communications is quite unusual. Male Tangara frogs gather in shallow pools of water at night and make a number of calls to announce their presence, and they often produce a specific call or set of specific calls that are believed to have a central role in attracting females during mating season. According to this theory, a nearby female will select a mate based on the desirability of its vocalizations, after which the mating pair will build a floating foam nest into which the female will lay eggs that are then fertilized by the male. 2. The most fundamental of the Tangara mating vocalizations is a descending, high-frequency sweep referred to as a whine. Simple calls consist of a whine only, and they are probably sufficient to attract a female when the caller does not face significant competition from other males. However, when many frogs concentrated in one area are contending for a mate, these types of calls are often insufficient. Thus, male Tangara frogs have developed a second type of vocalization that they can add in an attempt to stand out from the crowd. These grunts, often called chucks, are made possible by the presence of large, fibrous masses in the frog's larynxes. A male generates a chuck by moving air in and out of its vocal sac, a process that creates a series of ripples in the water, and these aquatic vibrations may also aid in making it easier for females to locate their prospective mates. 3. According to scientific studies, calls that include at least one chuck on average are 5 times more appealing to females than calls that do not, and calls with multiple chucks seem to be more attractive than those with just one. Therefore, it is sexually advantageous for male frogs to make more elaborate calls. Moreover, researchers have discovered that females prefer chucks that are low in frequency, perhaps because these sounds tend to be produced by males with larger bodies. Large male frogs are likely to be of superior genetic quality, and they achieve higher rates of egg fertilization since females tend to be bigger than males, and fertilization rates are correlated with similarity in size between the two members of a mating pair. Still, some researchers have taken issue with the idea that females prefer these males because they are better mates. And they contend that the females are selecting these mates simply because they are easier to find due to the fact that they emit a greater number of clearly audible calls. Even if this is correct, however, it is plausible that the females are still gaining a selective advantage if the same trait, the tendency to use multiple chucks, is passed on through heredity to her offspring, as they too would have a higher likelihood of finding a mate and passing on their genes. Of particular interest to scientists is the mechanism by which the calling behavior of male Tangara frogs evolved. 2 competing explanations have been posited. One is that the female preference for chucks evolved jointly with the male's production of them, and the other is that the male Tangara frogs exploited a pre-existing bias of females to chucks. Preliminary experimental results support the latter proposal. In a groundbreaking test, scientists recorded calls of Angistomops pustulosis and played them to females of the same species as well as female members of 2 other species in the genus E. coloradorum and E. anisvi, whose males are not known to produce chucks. Researchers used calls with no chucks, 1 chuck, 2 chucks, 3 chucks, and 4 chucks, and then documented the responses of females to each. Interestingly, the females of E. pustulosis and E. coloradorum both showed a strong attractiveness to the addition of chucks, while E. anisvi showed no increased interest. This suggests that E. pustulosis and E. coloradorum share a more recent common genetic ancestor whose females had a favorable predisposition toward chucks, and that E. pustulosis males have taken advantage of this while males of E. coloradorum have not. 5. Yet despite its apparent usefulness in mating, using chucks poses a potentially dangerous trade-off. Experts have discovered that the addition of chucks to calls increases the Tangara frog's risk of being preyed upon by predators. In particular, the fringe-lipped bat relishes Tangara frogs, which it detects using its echolocation abilities. These bats are eavesdropping hunters, meaning they actively listen for the amphibians and home in on the sounds they generate, and they have developed a special skill in this regard. Although most bats are sensitive only to sounds that match the high frequency of their echolocation signals, fringe-lipped bats have developed the ability to pick up on noises at the lower frequencies that are associated with the checks of Tangara frogs. Thus, the male frog must maintain a delicate compromise, producing a call that is capable of attracting a female yet inconspicuous enough to avoid predation.